And then now years later, my book is there. It's being reordered, and I also did an author session over there. So it's so full
Yeah.
circle, and I think these moments, these full circle moments, make this experience of writing and connecting to a place, to people, to books so precious. Every time I got $1 for when I was called an overthinker, I would be a millionaire by now, and I wouldn't have had to start passive income streams like this one.
But trust us, we're not overthinking girlies. In fact, I reckon others are perhaps just not thinking enough.
But don't worry, we've got you covered because we're here to think on your behalf on all the things that matter to you and to us with the girls who overthink.
With Girls Who Think, the podcast.
podcast.
Hi everyone, welcome back to part 2 of the FAQs that we were running. In case you've missed it, please go back to the previous episode. This is Girls Who Think, the podcast, and I'm Niharika.
And I'm Simran.
And today we are starting from question number 6 about the various things about publishing your debut novel, navigating life as a millennial woman, etc. etc. Okay, and we've already covered questions 1 to 5. Very, very juicy questions that we've been asking ChatGPT. And now going on to question number 6. Are you ready?
Yes, born ready.
Right. Do you, Simran, feel pressure to market your life now that you're a public facing author?
Oh my god.
Please refer to the rest of the podcast for
Context.
exactly this context. Yes.
Yes. In a straight word, of course, yes, I do feel the pressure to market my life out there now that I'm an author and, this public figure. And I remember this exact moment when my publisher said to me that, hey, you're a public figure now. Go make a video about this milestone and go talk about it and go address people and just walk into this persona of the person that you are now. And I think that is sometimes so jarring because most of us as writers or as creatives are people who love their own company, who love spending time with ourselves and creating something. We love immersing ourselves in art, in the written word, in music, poetry, books, movies, etc. So it's very hard to get out of that shell and now just be out there and put your personal life, not personal life, but like put parts of your life out in the public. So I definitely feel pressured, but I think I'm doing a good job
You're doing a
at
great job.
doing this. And like, look at where
Yeah.
it's gotten us. I mean, this podcast and where we are today is a result of that pressure, quote unquote.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So yeah.
Actually, I mean, again, to answer the same question, of course, I think it was a very surprising kind of pressure for me because when I wrote my novel, I had obviously grown up on authors whose face even I wouldn't know, because that was never the vibe. Like, you were not reading books for the person who's writing it, I mean, you just knew them as writers, you knew them for their work, you didn't really buy their book for their brand necessarily. So, like, when I published my debut novel, I was also kind of suddenly told that, if you want to sell your books, you need to be on social media, you need to be pushing yourself as an author. And eventually I started noticing that even if you go to airport stores or, you look at the bestseller section, it's all influencer first writers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now.
And these are all people who worked really hard, and that's even not to discredit their writing, but it's just that their books are getting sold to an audience which is not necessarily a niche reader audience, and that is why it is a bestseller.
Yeah.
Because otherwise,
the pool is wider for
the pool
them.
is wider
It's
because
everybody, not just readers.
Exactly. It's everybody, not just readers. And, it's a smart strategy. And of course, publishers who put their money on your book, they want that for the sales. And I feel like that was a very new kind of pressure. So my Instagram page was actually private for up till a month before my book launch. And after that, I kind of got into it. And then once you're doing it, as a means towards an end, you kind of do it with a very different kind of strategy. It stopped having pictures of my family. It stopped having like just my regular life. It started being, very, it's created content now for Instagram. So, it's not necessarily the most enjoyable of my pursuits, to be honest, but I know that I, would do it because I love writing so much and I would want to kind of create my own space on the internet for that. So that's the only reason. And that's also But in navigating it, we've also figured out that there is a way to do it in a way that you enjoy it, which brings us to this podcast. I
Yeah.
mean, we felt that I am so conscious in front of the camera individually, and so is she. Maybe it may not show on our Instagram that way, but it surely is.
Yeah.
But we just realized that when we talk to each other, that is so relatable to a very niche audience, to the kind of people who are maybe writers in the wings, who've been meaning to write and they're struggling, authors, or maybe they're readers,
Creative
and just people
people who want to be
creative,
seen.
also people who love the themes that we write about, maybe.
Yeah.
And we felt that a podcast would kind of suit our banter so much more, and we would probably bring out that organic self from each other if we were
Yeah.
talking to each other. And
And just
so,
the long content conversation format,
yes.
right? I think the vertical short form content that works on Instagram feels
Yeah.
so made up and so plastic versus
Yeah.
this conversation that's free flowing is so authentic.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, finding ways in which you enjoy this is so important. And that's what we've been able to do with this podcast, as you correctly mentioned.
Yeah, and I mean, and being able to leverage that authenticity within yourself is the only way to really make meaningful connections on the internet, also. I mean, that's always the case, even in real life and even on the internet. But it's just that for me, I don't think I'm my authentic best when I'm trying to shoot something, because camera was never really my kind of joy. I know a lot of people love being on camera, and I love taking photos when I dress up, for sure, but it's a very different thing to kind of like shoot like a content creator. And while there are people who love it, it's not me. And so for me, I'm still doing it, and you can kind of go check out the stuff I put up, because I try to talk about the themes that I write about. But the podcast is what really is what I absolutely love. So yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
All right.
Lovely.
All right, question number 7. What's one thing no one prepared you for when it comes to publishing a book?
I think just dealing with the underwhelming and overwhelming parts of this journey. And I think also expectation setting. I think so, this is something none of us, I think, know when we get into something new most times until we've actually had people who follow the same path to guide us. And in this case, I didn't have that. I'm the first person in my family to have written a book. Neither did I know a lot of people in this industry, or in the publishing industry, or the writing agent kind of stuff. So I think I didn't know what to expect. And I didn't even, and that doesn't mean that I had really high expectations and I was crushed. Not at all. I just did it for me. And after I did it, I realized, okay, now, well, like, how do I measure success, or do I need to measure success, or what is this about, right? I think it was more from a place of a passion project, something that was like a childhood dream, and I always wanted to do it. But yeah, I think measuring success and expectation management, I would say, are the two things that nobody prepared me for. And I think if I have a chance, I would like to mentor someone who is going to walk the same path, and probably, tell them that, hey, this is what to expect.
Yeah. I mean, of course, everything that came out of this journey for me was completely like unexpected. Like, there was no way for me to know any of it. But one thing that nobody prepares you for is how difficult it is going to be to put your work in front of the people that you know and love, and how freeing it is to put it up in front of
Strangers.
strangers. Like, I feel like that was, I didn't realize just how uncomfortable it is, because writing is a deeply personal journey, no
Yeah.
matter whether you're writing fiction or whatever
Genre.
kind of genre you pick up, but it's still, everything that you write is going to kind of come from your experiences or your worldview. And when you kind of put it as a published novel, it's like somebody going through your personal diary,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
it's a
100%.
daunting feeling.
Very.
Because everybody who loves you is reading it because they want to support you, and they want to read your work, and they're psychoanalyzing you through it. They can't help it.
100%.
And they can't help but do that. And
And
so,
their view of you, their image of you changes after
yeah.
they've read. And I think
that's
that's
so
scary.
uncomfortable. Like, it's extremely uncomfortable.
My partner said to me that I'm worried and I'm scared to read your book because I don't know how will that change. I mean, it's not to say that it'll change something completely, but it could have a monumental shift in how someone sees you,
Yeah,
right?
and their idea of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also, but like similarly, I think, I mean, initially when the book was coming out, I really dreaded this tremendously. But the other thing that came out of it was obviously putting your book out in front of strangers and strangers connecting with you on Instagram and kind of sending you excerpts that really resonated with them and stuff like that. And I feel like I have never felt more seen in my life.
Yeah.
It's like the sweetest love letter that anybody can write to you, because they are really connecting with you for your experience or for your mind and nothing else, and there is no transaction related to this
Yeah. It's
except
so
for that it's
pure.
so pure. And this of course does not just serve vanity, it just makes you feel less alone in the world also, just that experience. And it was the most liberating feeling that I've ever had, to be kind of seen and received in that way. Not that
Yeah.
it's happened many times, but the few times that it's happened, I mean, I hold it precious to my heart.
Yeah, and I think it's such a pure and overwhelming feeling when someone else resonates with what you
Yeah.
thought and what you wrote out in the world, and they kind of hold it close, and that's just one sentence or one idea or one thought that they will
Yeah.
probably remember till the
Yeah.
day they die. The way we
Yeah.
remember certain things,
Yeah.
certain favorite authors of ours have said or
Yeah.
written.
Absolutely.
Imagine to have your words reach so far into someone's lives that they remember them. So it's just
It's very rewarding in that way.
yeah, it's very mystical. It's very rewarding. It's a very different feeling.
Yeah, and I mean, just to add to that, I feel like another thing that I feel people should know is that the rewarding aspect of it, while this outweighs anything that you can get, the rewards that a lot of people expect going into writing a novel, which is fame, which is recognizability, and which is kind of money, on all those parameters is extremely underwhelming.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if people are writing it for this reason, like, don't.
And I think even the small things, right? Even though, as you mentioned, certain materialistic elements may be underwhelming, but I think one of my most favorite aspects is when I get to know that a bookstore has reordered my
Yeah.
book. Like recently, I was told by my publisher that Oxford bookstore in CP has just reordered, and there's a fresh batch of Like a Summer Song in their store just a month
Wow.
back. And I think, and they sent me videos and photos of it, and I think just receiving it in the middle of your day is so beautiful. It's so rewarding as an author to
Yeah.
know that okay, there's this one bookstore that's been selling your work, and there are readers that come back and buy it, and and apparently that was also the bookstore where I ended up doing one of my very first few author sessions, where a book club had invited me, and we'd spoken about books and my book in particular and reading in general. And I will always remember that one bookstore. And why it's so symbolic is because I used to go to that bookstore when I was in college. And then now, years later, my book is there. It's being reordered, and I also did an author session over there. So it's so full
Yeah.
circle. And I think these moments, these full circle moments, make this experience of writing and connecting to a place, to people, to books so precious.
Yeah. I agree. Could not agree more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. What's your current relationship with rejection, personal or professional? I mean, it's interesting because we just shot an episode
Yeah.
on handling rejection like an alpha female. If you haven't
Yeah.
already, please go check it out on the channel.
Correct. And I think, but like just to summarize that in one line, for me is rejection is God's protection. So I really know that if something is not working out for me, it's really working out for me
Ooh, I
in
like
the
that.
long run.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, I would have probably said the same thing because I deeply believe it. But to add to that, I also feel like I'll reiterate that, fail fast as a concept really needs to kind of
Yeah.
stay with people, because it's such a helpful concept in navigating rejection and navigating challenges at work, in personal life, whatever have you. I mean, there is so much ground to cover that any one rejection really can't be a defining element in anybody's life. So, yeah, that.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. What do you want women listening to us feel by the end of this episode?
I think in general, in this phase of my life, I
Yeah.
would like for women listening to us, watching us, really believe and know that your true worth and your true value is not dependent on anything external, anything outside of you. It really comes from a place within, and anything or everything that's not working out for you is really working out for you. So remember to have your head held high and just keep walking, because life is long. No one thing really defines whether your life is going to turn out the way it would. So keep going and just keep having fun. I think there's so much pressure to do something and to achieve a certain kind of success or a certain kind of milestone. But in the end, it's all futile if I think you're not enjoying the journey.
Yeah,
So just let go of the burdens and the fears and believe in yourself, know your worth, and have fun. That's it. Yeah.
absolutely. Well
Yeah.
said.
What would you want our listeners to take away
No, I
from this
mean,
episode?
my book is called The Joy of Missing Out. So I feel like just kind of take a moment to absorb whatever is going on around you. Because as we also discussed in another episode recently, is that, often you're actually kind of arriving at the dreams that you kind of had as a child, but you're not really taking that moment to just kind of sit with it,
Yeah.
in peace and enjoy.
Pause
Just pause.
and experience.
Hold pause.
Yeah.
To hold pause is what I would kind of
Yeah.
suggest, because that
Yeah.
is a theme that I hold so close to my heart that I wrote a whole novel on it. But yeah, that
Yeah.
really is. I feel like if we miss out on that, we miss out on
Whole
opportunity for
bunch of
happiness.
life. Yeah.
And that is so unfortunate that you
Yeah.
kind of have these wonderful achievements to kind of draw from, and yet you're not. I mean, then what would be the point of anything, really?
Yeah, what would be the point of just going out there and achieving all of this when you can't
Yeah.
take a moment and just enjoy
Yeah,
those things?
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, just that. And to end this episode, I have one last question, Simran. What is one rule you've broken that completely changed your life for the better? Oh, why is ChatGPT giving us an existential crisis today?
I think I'm still in the middle of that process, but I think just breaking away from self pity. I think self pity is one of the greatest forms of indulgence, and it's very easy to fall into the hole of just pitying yourself when anything's not working well, or whatever be the reason. I think the world gives us plenty of reasons to go into a corner and cry about things.
Yeah.
But when you decide to actively make that choice to not do that and get up and do what you need to do, I think that really starts changing the world around you. And of course, that comes from changing the world within you first. So you change within, and then the world around you changes. And I really feel like reality is a mirror.
Yeah.
So yeah, getting out of self pity and just
Wow.
conquer the world, because you can,
Because you can.
and you must.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. I agree.
What
I mean,
about you?
I think, contrary to the name of
I
our
love the deep
podcast,
sigh that you take before
Yeah.
answering this question.
yeah, because like we chose to call our podcast "Girls Who Overthink," and I feel like I really thrive on overthinking. But something that I think I'm learning now, I feel like, is to stop overthinking. I feel like when you stop overthinking, it really uncomplicates life a lot, because when you're overthinking, what happens is there is fact, and then you kind of layer it with your own fears and your
Yeah,
own projections and
biases.
your own biases, and you're coloring it with things which are really quite a departure from what really is. So overthinking, now I've come to the realization, is not necessarily doing more work. It is probably just adding to unnecessary stress. So I like, my book was initially called 321 Jump, and that is just a philosophy that I feel like I would really like to embody in life, is just 321 Jump.
Do not
If you're
overthink.
gonna
Just
overthink it, you
jump.
do not take the leap of faith.
That
You
is
don't end
true.
up doing it. Like, I mean,
That
as
is
a
true.
bungee jumper, I know that to be the truth, even on the edge. It's just not something that you're physically or mentally capable of. So I feel like once you've made up your mind to take the leap of faith, then it's 321 jump.
Wow,
So
that's so powerful.
yeah.
I love it.
Yes. Okay. And on that note,
Yes.
Let's throw it out to the listeners, though. I mean, I would love to know if you guys have any questions for us, if you're considering writing a book, or if you have questions related to, I don't know, just living a millennial life or a Gen Z almost not life.
Yeah, and just if you have questions around personal growth, healing, jumping into the creative process, the roadblocks that you face in just doing life every day, we're here to listen to you, to help you navigate through life, because we're doing it and we don't want you to do it alone.
Yeah.
So, on that note, this is Simran.
And I'm Niharika.
And we're signing off on today's episode of Girls Who Think,
the podcast.